And boom, we are live again. Your 2026 parenting blueprint. What schools don't teach you about children. What if I told you that the biggest danger to your child in 2026 is not the internet, but your unhealed pattern? Schools can teach your child algebra. Yes, schools can teach your child to read and write. But who is teaching your child emotional survival? That's the question I'm asking you. By 2030, yes, by 2030, your child may live in a world that rewards skills schools never thought you exist. Yes, let me say this again. By 2030, your child may live in a world that rewards skills that school never taught you existed. And today, that is why I am talking about your 2026 parenting blueprint. What schools don't teach you about children. If you are here with me, you are welcome to this session of the Parenting Talk Show with Coach Ayolua. My name is Ayolua Adedeji. I am the founder and the lead consultant at the Model Family Focus. I am the parenting guru, a parenting coach, a family life practitioner, a play therapist who has helped parents, who has equipped hundreds of parents to raise well-rounded and balanced children. And today, I am here again. So, what is this session all about? Children are growing in overstimulated, underparented and overpressured environments. That is what we are having today. Overstimulated, screen stimulation, school pressure, underparenting. Parents are so occupied. They have so many things dragging their attention. They have to show up at work, show up for their personal needs, show up in the place of worship, show up, even as a family, in the family. So children are growing in overstimulated, underparented and overpressured environments. Discipline without connection. Achievement without identity. Technology without emotional maturity. This is where our children are growing, literally. Today is not just a parenting talk. No, it is not like every other talk that we have. This is a survival blueprint. Today's session is a survival blueprint for raising whole human in a fractured world. Who agrees with me that we are already living in a fractured world? Everything within and around us screams this. Unless we are not observant, everything around us is screaming this, that we are living in a fractured world. So we need to learn, we need to equip ourselves with skills, with tools, with strategies that our children need to be whole, even in an unstable and unpredictable world that we have today. I made a post during the week. I said on my social media, if you are not following me on my social media, please do so. Every day I teach about parenting. So I said in that post that the world is not going to slow down. The world is not going to be less predictable. What we need to do as parents is to prepare our children, to raise them how to, operate wholly, even in an unstable environment. I've spent over decades working across child development, emotional health, and purpose delivery in families. And what I'm about to share comes from my private work with families, parents, and even broken cycles. The framework that I'm going to share with you wasn't borrowed. No, I'm not going to share a borrowed framework. I'm not going to share theories. No, I am sharing practical skills, practical tools, practical framework, practical models built from my experience, from errors, my errors and the errors of the families that I have worked with, and from evidences. So this is why you need to take this session so seriously. If you have not been taking every other session seriously, please don't do that now. So what will you gain in this session? Today you will learn what schools never designed to teach. What school is never designed to teach. What schools are never designed to teach. I keep saying this, that as parents we should not give schools our responsibilities, our roles, because there are certain things that schools are not designed to teach your children. No. There are lessons that your child cannot learn elsewhere except from your own. Except from your own. And if you fail to teach it in your home, boom, you are setting up your child for frustration, for failure, for instability. So today you will learn what schools were never designed to teach, but your child cannot afford to miss these things. That's the truth. Yes, the schools were not designed, the schools were not developed to teach these things. Yes, your children should never miss these things. They should never miss these things because they are survival skills. There are things that your children will need beyond math and English, beyond grades, beyond scores in subjects. So you will learn how emotions shape intelligence, how discipline fails without identity. Discipline without identity is a failure. You will learn how attachment affects future relationships. How attachment affects future relationship. How to raise unbreakable children in unstable times. Like I said, we are actually living in unstable, unpredictable season. Then you will learn how to become the safest place your child knows. And that is the essence of parenting. That is the essence of a home. A home should be the safest place that a child would know. But before we start, I want you to share the link to this session to parents on your platforms, on your contacts, your children, teachers, your neighbors, people that are co-parenting with you. Let us learn and grow together. Like I've been saying, if you are raising children in this time, you need to belong to a community. No single parent can outgrow a community. No. You need a community where you can learn, where you learn with like-minded people. We learn together, we grow together, we learn from our mistakes, and we grow together. And that is how we can achieve sane society. So let us raise different children. Let us raise our children differently. Like the name of this outfit, the model family. The model family. Let us be that family that the world will want to learn from. Let us be that family that people want to say, oh, I want to see, why are children from this family so different? Why are they so distinct? I like to learn from them. And that is the essence of life. So let's start with the lie of good parenting. The lie of good parenting. Most parents, in my work as a family life practitioner, as a parenting coach, I discovered that most people parent by survival, not by design, by survival. And really, this is actually not our fault. It was because of how we were raised, where we were coming from. You know, we were not prepared. We were not taught what parenting really looks like. Currently, I'm working on a book. The book is almost done. We are on proofreading stage. What I wish I knew before becoming a parent. There's so many things that we need to learn. There's so many things that we need to learn even before we begin the journey of parenting. You and I know that no one goes to the battlefield to go and learn how to fight war. You don't go to a war ground to go and learn how to fight war. You know the result. You know the end the end result. That person will be utterly destroyed at the war front. So you prepare for the war before the war began. But unfortunately, in parenting, we begin the war before we start learning about the war. Or some of us don't even learn anything. Some of us are just parenting on autopilot. We just think our children will figure things out. We think things will fall in place by itself. When our children grows up, they will figure things out by themselves. Newsflash. Newsflash. It doesn't happen that way. And that is why we have struggling children, struggling adults. Yes, struggling adults. We have children. We have adults who are achieving so much, yet they feel like something is missing inside of them. Like something is missing inside of them. That's why we have a lot of people who at age 30, 35, 40, they are still finding their purpose. Again, if you have not read my book, Why Find Your Lost Purpose? Something is missing, oh. Something important is missing because no purpose is lost in the first place. It is a parenting error for a child to be praying to find a purpose. It is a parenting error. No purpose was lost. No purpose is lost. You are born with purpose. In that book, Why Find Your Lost Purpose, I explained that concept that you, human beings, have purpose wrapped up in flesh. So what are you looking for? It's like you are looking for yourself in yourself. You are looking for yourself in yourself. This is happening because most of our parents, they parented us by survival, not by design. They don't even understand child development. They don't understand neuroscience. They don't understand psychology. They don't understand how children's brain works. How children's brain work, they don't understand it. And the parents that parented us on autopilot, on survival, not by design. And we inherited that parenting by default. And that is what some of us are also practicing now. And that's why I usually say that if your parenting style looks like your parents' parenting style, you are already failing. Yes, I said that. Yes, quote me anyway. If your parenting style looks exactly like your parents' parenting style, you are missing it. That is the truth. You are missing it. What do I mean by this? If you are raising your child, you are raising your children the way your parents raised you, you are wrong. You are wrong. Because there are a lot of things that our parents didn't understand. Because there were no informations, there were no training, then there were no parenting classes, there were no books to read on parenting. They were just parenting by default. They were just, doing things on autopilot. They're just doing things how it occurred to them, how they perceive it. But this is era of information and era of influence. So if you are parenting, if you are raising your children the way you are raised, you are wrong. Don't be that parent who will say, my parent did this to me and I am okay. What are the parameters that you have used to measure your okayness? That's what we say, without facts and figures. My parent did this to me and I turned out to be okay. But everything around us is showing that we are not okay. If we claim that we are hygienic people, our environment should look tidy, should look so clean, so spotless. How come we are claiming that we are hygienic, we are clean people, yet our environments are looking so terribly dirty? That is what our parenting looks like. We keep saying, oh, I even received some comments from some of my posts. Allow us to deal with our children the way we want. Is my child, allow me to discipline my child. Yes, they are your child. But you know why I cannot allow you to discipline your child the way you want? Because all of us we bear the brunt of it. All of us, we bear the brunt of it. So I will keep saying it. I will keep saying it until as many people that will listen, that we need to start parenting intentionally and not on autopilot. Something happened in my hometown, I think 2 months ago. Yes, 2 months ago. By the way, I came from a town with the largest number of twins in the whole world. If you are not from my town, now you know. So in my town, we have the largest number of twins. So recently, from the past few years, they have been celebrating twin festivals, an annual event. So this year, the Aláàfin of Ọ̀yọ́ was invited. I think he has been attending that event even from the previous Aláàfin, before the previous Aláàfin was late. So this new Aláàfin Ọ̀yọ́ went to the event, and on his way out of the venue, the thugs, the area boys waylaid him, trying to harass him and all of that. I wasn't there exactly. I didn't know what happened there exactly, but we got the feedback how the Aláàfin was harassed, how the area boys, the thugs, held him at a spot, held his vehicle, his entourage at a spot, and the man couldn't go freely. And as I was reading posts about this, it just occurred to me. And I wrote this in my book, Why Find Your Lost Purpose, that these thugs, they were not born. Thugs were not born, they were raised. Great men were not born, they were raised. Yes, great men. Nobody was born great. Nobody. If you see any great man today, they were not born great. Great men today, they were not born great. They were raised to be great, either consciously or unconsciously. So also the thugs, the area boys, the riffraffs, all those people that we think they are not, responsible in the society, they were not born irresponsible. They were raised to become irresponsible, either consciously or unconsciously. And I wrote it in my book, Why Find Your Lost Purpose, and that's where I'm going to. And I wrote it, I think it's in chapter 2. I wrote the cost of missed purpose. When we parent without purpose, without vision, there is a cost. There is a cost. The child bears the cost. The family bears the cost. The society at large. And that's where I'm going to. The society also bears the cost. And that was what happened in my hometown. So I was just thinking, I said, now we are all facing the embarrassment from people who were mislabeled, who are misdisciplined as a child. And they grew up, they were raised to become riffraff, to become agberos, to become thugs. And now they are embarrassing a whole society. You can imagine that kind of event, a supposed international event, and someone as honorable as the Aláàfin of Ọ̀yọ́, one of the most referenced king in our land, experienced this from people who are mislabeled, who miss their purpose, who miss their essence of creation. I believe that nobody was created without a purpose. Nobody. These people were mislabeled by their children, by their parents. I see in them CEOs that are mislabeled. I see in them creators that are not well guided. I see in them just solution providers that lacked love from home. I see people who are seeking for validation in a wrong place because they were not validated from home. This is the essence of all these stories. If we fail to raise children with purpose, all of us will face the shame. All of us will bear the brunt of it. There's a current situation in the country now. For those of us watching me from Nigeria, there is a situation in Nigeria now. The rate of insecurity is just too much. You know, that you going out, you need to pray and pray and pray and pray. Every day, I sleep with so much burden in my heart, thinking about children, the over 300 children in captivity, thinking of mothers who are in the hands of the kidnappers, thinking of fathers, thinking of who has been killed, thinking of people who are in chaos looking for ransom to pay so that they can get back their loved ones. Do you know what this means? Do you know that all of us, we are all facing that consequences of those who have failed to raise their children with purpose? Do you know that all those kidnappers, all those bandits, all those, what do they call them, unknown gunmen, do you know that if they are raised with sense of purpose from home, if they are raised, if they have experienced love, Pajo, thank you for joining me. Good afternoon, sir. Thank you, sir. Do you know that if these people, all these bandits, the headsmen, the unknown gunmen, the terrorists, the jihadists, whatever thing we call them, do you agree with me that if they were raised in a home that is filled with love, if they were raised with purpose mindset, if they were raised as a child to discover who they are, do you know that we won't have this situation that they were having in our country right now? Gone are those days that when you want to travel, you can decide to go to any part of the country anytime, any day. Once you have your money, we do say that traveling is part of education. Now, you don't travel anyhow. You don't travel anyhow. Why? Because some parents has failed in their own responsibility. They have failed to raise their children with purpose. And those are the children that are now turning to bandits, turning to herdsmen, and destroying the peace of our nation. It is high time as parents that we take parenting not just as role, but as ministry. As ministry. As something that we need to prepare, the way we prepare for career, the way we go to universities to study course for 5-6 years, we really need to sit down and see parenting as ministry. Because if you fail, if one parent failed in their parenting role, the whole nation can pay the price. And trust me, the price is not usually palatable, just like what we are having currently in our nation. So I am talking about the lie of good parenting, that most of us parents, we are parenting by survival, not by design. If you are not parenting by design, you will destroy your children. I am saying it again. If you have not gotten this book, Why Find Your Lost Purpose, please get it and read it. It will help you to understand who your child is. It will help you to be able to design personalized discipline strategy for your child. One of the ways that parents destroy their children is discipline done the wrong way. Our society didn't turn to what it is now because we lack discipline. No, our parents are disciplinary people, just that the disciplines are done the wrong way. You know, when you beat a child, and you are telling that child that I love you. That's why I'm beating you. I'm inflicting pain on you because I love you. What you are teaching that child is that you can love someone and still intentionally hurt that person. That's the message. That is the message. There are better ways to discipline a child, putting their design in consideration. So we need to understand that life requires identity. Identity. I've always said this. Give a child a sense of identity, and you have given that child everything the child needs to thrive in life. But take identity away from a child, then you have taken the essence of life away from that child. Identity. Who is your child? Who is your child? Let your child know. Who are you? I don't think there is a day in this house that we don't ask our children, who are you? Who are you? Who are you? Who are you? We are intentional. We are trying to create that, to give them identity. This is who you are. You are a royalty. A royalty doesn't tell lies. A royalty doesn't steal. A royalty doesn't backbite. A royalty doesn't hurt the neighbor. A royalty is a responsible people. Royalties are responsible people. Royalties are people that do that, ensure things are done the right way, even when nobody is watching you. And see, if you are able to give your children identity, let me share one thing that happened a few months ago. I think I shared on my social media platform how I was taking our children to school one morning. Usually we have a family curriculum that we discuss almost every day. So that day I was walking them down to school and I was telling them story. And I said, oh, my brother, Asis Monsuru Egbon. Good afternoon, sir. Thank you for joining me. So, and I was telling them story. And I told them, I said, do you know that when I was younger, I used to steal money from my mommy's pot? And her daughter said, mommy, we used to steal money from your own purse too. I was like, really? I asked our son, is that true? He said, yes. I want to hear. How? So there was this local ice cream seller that normally passes our house on Sunday. All this ice cream that he puts inside wafers. I don't like that ice cream. So each time this man comes around on Sunday, they will want to buy. Mommy, give us money. Daddy, give us money. We said, no, this is not safe for you. We normally buy a bowl of ice cream. So let's buy a bowl of ice cream so that you can be sure of what you are taking. And we have a ritual in our house on Sunday. After service, after lunch, we take our time to sleep, to prepare our body for the next week. So when we are sleeping in our room, these children will sneak into our bedroom, take money from my purse, and go and buy the ice cream. So they narrated to me. This has happened for over a year before they were telling me. And I was like, wow. So you guys have been stealing my money. And I told them, okay, thank you for telling me. But as a royalty, you are not supposed to do this. This is not how to do this. I then asked them, I said, but you know that you shouldn't do this. And the two of them chorused something. They said something so profound to me. They said, hey, mommy, that time we don't know who we are. Now that we know who we are, we cannot steal. We cannot do that again. Do you know what that communicates? They have been able to internalize the identity we are giving to them. The identity that we are giving to them. Sometimes when they act out and we ask them, who are you? We don't even need to tell them that what you've done is wrong. They know. And that's why I keep telling you, if you are parenting, you have not run parenting diagnosis assessment, you don't have your parenting guide, you are wrong. Please contact us at the Mother Family Focus. We'll help you out. You need to have your family vision, your family mission, your perceptual code. So our perceptual code as a family is royalty. So when they are doing something that is out of our values, what we just ask, instead of shouting, hey, what are you doing? Hey, we just ask, who are you? They know. When we say, who are you? They know what we mean. Even our baby, sometimes he will say, if we say, who are you? If we ask, who are you? Say, I'm not a royalty. Why? Because he knew that what he has done is against the values, is against the identity we are giving to them. What am I saying? Life requires identity. You see, culture that we are following, culture trains compliance. And that's why what we, the parents, what we want is that when I tell my child to sit down, my child should be able to sit down. When I tell my child to stand up, my child, that's culture. That's culture. It trains compliance, and it leads to, raising children who cannot think, children who just obey, who cannot think. But life requires identity. If you give your child identity, there are some things, there are some lessons that you actually don't need to teach. It is that identity that that will teach your child. Yes, it is that identity. So what am I saying? Dear parents, stop parenting on autopilot. Equip yourself with skills, with strategies. Equip yourself with skills, with strategies. If I am to be doing gossip, I know many people, there are so many people that will join this live session. But I'm talking about something that will change our lives, that will change our families, that will change our society, that will change our world at large. How many people do we have on this call? It's usually like that. But as little of us that are always, joining me, I recognize you and I celebrate you. Now let's talk about the emotional brain. Emotions are not enemy. That your child is crying is not a problem. Emotions are not enemy. They are the infrastructure. Emotions are messages that the brain is sending to caregiver. A child is crying and you are beating the child again. A child is sending a message to you and you are keeping that child. You are shutting that child. What you are doing is that you are suppressing the child's emotion. Children's brain are built bottom up, from safety to connection and to learning. Take note of this. I said children's brain are built bottom up. The children's brain are built bottom up, from safety to connection to learning. Let me explain this. For you to be able to correct your child, you first need to make your child feel safe. So when you want to correct your child and you are starting with you are done for, what I will do for you today, you have already shut that learning part of the brain. And whatever thing you are telling that child that time, that child will not learn. Hey, fineness. Hey, thank you for joining me. This is my interior design teacher. How are you, fineness? Thank you for joining me today. So, you have already shut that section of the brain that is responsible for learning. And that is why you will keep talking. Oh, after shouting, I have shouted, I have corrected, I have done this. My child is still not learning. Before you start teaching, you have shut down that section of the brain that's supposed to receive what you are about to teach. So the way children's brain are wired is from safety to connection to learning. So you first need to make your child feel safe. Then you stay connected to your child. How do you stay connected to your child? Maintaining eye contact. Coming down to your child's level. Usually, a parent's height is higher than a child. When you are talking to a child, the child is lower, the child is looking up, and you are looking down. The height is not balanced. If you really want to connect, you go down to your child's heart and you maintain eye contact. You can put your hand on your child's shoulder. These are the ways to connect. Then you can now teach. Chronic stress literally reshape development. Some of us are putting our children under chronic stress and we do not know. under chronic stress. You want to correct your child, you have already instilled fear. Your child is already afraid. Your child, and when a child is afraid, is either your child is in flight mode, fight mode, or freeze mode. Either of these, your child cannot learn. Your child cannot learn. So you need to be conscious to understand how children brains work. Now, let's talk about the attachment equation. The parenting template. Attachment equation is the parenting template. Secured attachments, there are three different attachments. I hope I'm 3 or 4. We have secured attachments, anxious attachments, and avoidant attachments. This is a session on its own. In one of the live session, I will deal with the attachment theory so that we can understand it very well. My friend Ojayemi Aruno, thank you for joining me. So, like I said, we need to ensure that we are connected with our children. That's what this attachment theory is all about. Different attachment theory and how attachment shapes our children's relationship in future. The attachment theory says that a child depends on his or her caregiver for survival. So how you relate with your child at the very tender age, the first 3 years of a child. And that's why I always say, that's why neuroscience and psychologists usually say that the first 3 years of a child's life is the most important part of the year of a child's life, because that is when the child will understand how to be secured, how to build confidence, depending on how the caregiver, relates with that child. So what children actually mean when they misbehave, what do they really mean? They are telling you that this is what is going on inside of me. These are the things that schools are not designed to teach. No school will teach all this. So don't think you have done everything because you have sent your child to school. You are paying huge amounts of money. You are paying 500,000 for school fee. You are buying school books. You are buying school uniform. You are doing this and all that. You have not done everything. You have done something. Yes, thank you. You have done something. But there are skills that schools are not designed to teach. No matter how good any school is. I work with schools, and I can tell you that even most of the schools, they destroy our children without us even knowing. That's a story for another day. Most of the schools that we send our children to, some of them destroys our children more than what we can imagine. It's because we are not intentional. We are not conscious. Some of us, the school our children are going to, they have no business going there. They have no business going there. But because we don't know, we are not aware. We just think, after all, I can afford this school fee. They have school bus. The school is fine. Their teacher, they speak diction. This English that they are teaching our children these days. We think that is all what our children need. No. There are some skills. Like I said in the introduction. There are some skills that only the parents can teach. Only the parents can teach. Schools don't raise children. Churches don't raise children. Mosques don't raise children. Even God, our creator, God will not raise your child. Human beings raise children. Even our Lord Jesus Christ was raised by human beings. So when I'm saying as parents, we have a whole lot of work to do. Take me seriously. So sometimes misbehavior also equals to unmet need. When our children are misbehaving, when we are thinking, why is this child so stubborn? Why is this child? Sometimes they are communicating unmet need. Only if we can look for inward, only if we can be calm, only if we can be intentional to understand the why behind our children's behavior. Let's move on to the next session. Discipline that doesn't destroy. Discipline that doesn't destroy. Connection without correction. Sorry, correction without connection creates fear, not wisdom. I've said it before. Correction without connection creates fear, not wisdom. And fear stifles growth. Fear stifles growth. No child, am I even saying child? No person can thrive under fear. No person. We will only survive, even as adults. So I was talking to a teacher sometimes ago. We want to enroll our children in a school. So I met with the school owner and I was asking, what is your discipline strategy? And she said, here we don't beat our children. Even the government has compelled that no school should beat children, but we just use little cane. We just to create fear so that they can cooperate. I was like, fear? You want a child to learn and you are creating fear, and you think that child will understand the concept of what you are teaching. Those are the things that they did to us that messed us up. That's why we have a lot of graduates that cannot create anything. We have first-class students that cannot create anything, that are still struggling. Why? Because we are not able to understand the concept of what we are taught. That was a proprietress, a owner of a school, saying that you hold a cane to scare a child that is in school to learn. As adults, if you are afraid, you are in a tense position. Can you learn? Can you learn? Can you understand? Can you really understand what you are being taught? And that's also what happens to our children when we create fear. When we are disciplining them, we create fear in them. We don't create an avenue for them to understand why they shouldn't do what we ask them not to do, or why they should do what we ask them to do. We create fear and they obey us out of fear. And that's why when we are not there, they do another thing. When we are there, they cooperate with us. They behave well. But when you are not there, they do another thing entirely, because we have not been able to teach them the concept. The concept. We have made them to learn through fear. If there's anything you are leaving this session with, leave this session with this statement. Fear stifles growth. No person will thrive under fear. When you are not safe, you cannot thrive. You will only survive. You will only survive. So we should prioritize guidance. I'm talking about discipline that doesn't destroy. We should prioritize guidance over punishment. Guidance over punishment. There's difference between discipline and punishment, and we have not been able to understand the difference between this. Most times when we think we are disciplining our children, we are punishing them. Punishments are for criminals. Punishments are for people who, how will I put it? Children are still learning. They are learning. And because we have unrealistic expectations, what took us 30 years, 40 years to learn, we want a 4-year, 5-year, 6-year-old to be able to behave as per our level. Where do we think they will learn that from? Their tiny brain. Where do we think they will learn that from? So when you are punishing a child for misbehaving, you are punishing that child's developmental process. Most of the things that our children do that we tag as misbehavior, they are part of their developmental process. It is just because we don't know. It is because we lack knowledge in this part of the world. That's why we will say a 4-year-old child is rebellion. A 4-year-old child is stubborn. Some I've heard the parents telling a 5-year-old, you are very, very stupid. A 5-year-old child saying you are stupid. That is coming from lack of understanding, from a place of ignorance. Now, I want to talk about emotional bank account concept. I think I talked about this last 2 weeks. Like, we deposit in bank and we withdraw. There is an emotional bank account concept in parenting where you deposit into your child's emotional account. What are the deposits? Or like our bank that we deposit money, we deposit naira, dollars, and all of that. In parenting, emotional bank accounts, the deposits are hugs, kiss, words of affirmation, quality time, connection moments, and all of that. Every time you hug your child, you kiss your child, you have physical contact with your child, you are depositing into your child's emotional bank account. I talked about it in chapter 6 of my book, Discipline Without Damage. Again, if you have not gotten that book, you are missing out. You are missing out. You cannot read my book and remain the same. No, you cannot read my book and remain the same. The kind of work I do, the kind of research I put together, if you have not read any of my book, honestly, you are parenting in error. You are. The link is in my bio. You can get my books from my online store. So I talked about emotional bank accounts in chapter 6 of that book, Discipline Without Damage. So the more you deposit, the better for you, and the better your children, the more your children will cooperate, the more easy your children will learn, the more better your children will receive your discipline. But if you don't deposit and you want to withdraw, what will you withdraw? For instance, if you don't have any money in your bank account and you went to ATM machine, you brought out your card and insert your card, you want to withdraw, what will happen? Will you see anything to withdraw? Of course, nothing. You won't be able to withdraw anything. So there's this concept also applies in parenting. It is important that we make deposits into our children's emotional bank account by giving them quality time, connection moments, having physical touch, having quality time, listening with intention, listening. Some of us, we don't listen to our children. There's difference between listening to understand and listening to respond. What we do most times is that we listen to respond. Your child is telling you something. Before your child finishes, what is it that you are even saying? Listening to understand means being present, understanding your child's verbal cue and non-verbal cue. This is very important. These are the ways that we make deposits on our children's emotional account. Then the last thing on discipline that doesn't destroy is consequence versus control. A lot of us, we control. Parenting is not about control. It is not. It is about guidance. It is about allowing our children to face the consequences of their behavior. Most time we shield our children from facing consequences. And let me tell you, you can shield your children from facing consequences, but life will not shield them. Life will not shield them. They will face the consequences of their choices. There was a day our daughter asked me, our daughter and her son, they summoned me. They said, "Hey, mommy, is it because you are older than us, you and daddy? We are the only one that usually face consequences. You don't face consequences. Is it because we are children?" And I smiled. I said, "It's just because you won't understand when I'm facing my consequences. I also face my consequences. Your dad also faces his consequences, the consequences of his choices. Everybody, life will not excuse us. So it's better you start teaching your children to face consequences now, so that you teach them to make better choices. Now that the stake is minimal, teach them. to face consequences. If you don't do this, this is what will happen. If you do this, this is the end result. This is very, very important. So discipline with dignity produces confident adults. Discipline with dignity. With dignity. But most times we rip our children off their discipline. Dignity, I mean. Discipline with dignity produces confident adults. Confident adults. Confident adults. Now, identity before achievement. A child who knows who they are will survive what they face. I'm not going to dwell much on this identity. I've talked about it. If you join this session late, you can watch the replay. It will be available on my YouTube channel, and it will still be available here for the next 30 days. So when a child knows who he or she is, the child will survive whatever that comes that child's way. It doesn't mean that your child will have everything smooth, it doesn't mean that your child will have everything as at beck and call, that the life will just be going on smoothly because your child has identity. No, but that identity will serve as an anchor, as an anchor, as an anchor. So it is important that we prioritize identity before achievement. Before achievement, before you say, hey, my child took first position in their class. Hey, my child is the best in English language. My child scored the highest in chemistry. My child is scored highest number in mathematics and all of that. What about your child's identity? Do you even care? Do you care about who your child is? There was an incident that happened recently. A co-founder of Paystack that was sacked. We all heard the story. That's an example of a successful person without identity. Without identity. That is why we will have a bank manager raping or sexually abusing an house help. That comes from lack of identity. Who are you? Who are you? Who are you? So we should prioritize identity. Identity should come before achievement. Again, no school will teach this. No school will teach this. As a matter of fact, one of the reasons why I work with schools is so that we can find a way to incorporate all this to our school system, to our educational system. Because whether we agree or not, the schools that our children are going, the schools are also parenting with us. They are co-parenting with us. And one of the things we look at for schools for our children is a school that will not undo the system that we are programming in our children. And that's what every family needs to do. So a child with high performance but low identity. A child with high performance but low identity. That child has many things to struggle with, many things to deal with in life. A child without identity. So, what are you preparing your child to succeed at? What exactly are you preparing your child to be successful at? Your inner child is parenting too. No school will teach you this, that your inner child is also parenting. We run a course at the Modern Family Focus. We call it Healing the Inner Child. A lot of us don't know that the way we parent our children is not just about our children, it's about the child in us. And what we do in that course is that we call out your inner self, the younger you. It used to be a theory, there's a session that usually comes with tears, because we stimulate parents to go back into their history, to call themselves out and heal that child. Some of us as a child, we were wounded. Some of us were maltreated. Some of us were raped. Some of us were verbally abused. Some of us were sexually abused. Some of us were abused emotionally. And we have not actually healed because we don't even know. And that's why I keep saying, when I hear statements like, I turn out okay, for me, that statement is even a sign that you are not okay. Because being okay is not a destination, it is a process. Even me, as a family life practitioner, I am still dealing with some of my inner child healings, inner child wound. So, your inner child is also parenting. Some of us, our decision, our parenting style is a function of what happened to us as a child. That is our inner child at work. So your inner child is also parenting with you. The pain that is not healed will be repeated. The pain that is not healed will be repeated. If you are wounded as a child and you have not really healed, you will repeat that wound unconsciously. Some men that are beating their wives, some of them came from a broken home, from a home where their father beat their mother, and while they are growing up, they hate it. Some of them will even say, oh, I will never do this to my wife, but somehow, unconsciously, they are doing that to their wives. Why? Because their inner child have not been healed. So your inner child is parenting too. So that's why we keep reacting instead of responding. Your children is crying and you are triggered. A child is crying and you are triggered. It means you are dealing with trauma, because it is a normal process for a child to cry. Even Jesus wept. Jesus, our Lord and Savior, he was emotional when he got to Lazarus' tomb and he saw that his dear friend Lazarus was dead, was buried. The Bible recorded that Jesus wept. If Jesus can be emotional, how about us? How about us? So, because you have been taught that a child should be calm, a child should stay calm, a child that is crying is stubborn. Some of us will even say children are demonic, they are possessed, and all of that by demon. No, it is part of developmental process. It is because our inner child has been wounded and we were not healed. So we are transferring that wound to our children. Triggers come from unmet childhood needs. Did you get that? Trigger. Anything that is triggering you, is either it did not happen, is either the trigger is either as a result of what happened to you or what did not happen to you as a child. So when you say, I will beat my child because my parents beat me and I turn out to be okay, it is because your emotional needs were not met. That's why you think that is the right thing to do to your child. It is not the right thing. So triggers come from unmet childhood needs. Your trigger is either because of things that happened to you that was not supposed to happen to you, or things that did not happen to you and that's supposed to happen to you. These are the two things that causes trigger. So the 2026 parenting shift, I am taking this 2026 parenting series to get us ready for year 2026, because I don't want us to start 2026 on autopilot. I want us to be intentional. I really want us to be intentional. So what is this 2026 parenting shift? Raise humans, not robots. Raise humans, not robots. Let me say this again. Raise humans, not robots. You can type this in comment section, down in comment section. Raise humans, not robots. A lot of us are raising robots too. We are raising robots. I was sharing with the parents. I told that parent, I said, your child will not always obey what you say. Not because your child is stubborn, not because your child is rebellious, not because your child is possessed, but because your child is human. Your child has thinking brain. Your child can feel emotions. Your child has senses. Your child can think. But we don't want our children to think. You ask your child to do something, and your child is asking, Mommy, why? Daddy, why? You're saying, keep short. I asked you to do this, and you're supposed to do it. I am your father. Hey, you are raising robots. You know how they behave? You just impute, go, and they start going. Come, and they start coming. Even when the danger is on the way, you say come, they are coming. If they stumble, they fall, they get damaged. I am sure that is not who you want to raise. So in 2026, raise humans, not robots. What are the new models? Emotional intelligence. And I want to beseech you, don't miss live session. Don't miss the parenting talk show with Coach Ayelua. This year, 2026, let me use this opportunity to make a brief announcement. There will be a rescheduling very soon. We will move this session, live session. It will air on Facebook. It will be happening on my YouTube channel so that we can reach out to many people and for security purpose. So don't miss any session. If by chance you miss a session, there will always be a replay. Go and watch replay. These things that you are getting free, they are things that you should pay for. Yes. There are things that I spend money to learn. Some I spend my time as currency, doing research, reading, creating models, creating framework, so that I'm coming here every Sunday by 2 p.m. teaching for 1 hour, 1 hour plus. Sometimes I put in 3 hours of preparation. Yes, 3 hours of preparation. So if I'm doing that, so that as I am growing on my parenting journey, you'll be growing your parenting journey, so that we can have a whole family, and at large we can have a same society. Please take advantage of this. A lot of learning is going to happen. A lot of learning. Trust me when I say so. Trust me when I say so. A lot of learning is going to happen in year 2026. So please stay with me. So the new model, emotional intelligence, self-regulation, purpose development. Purpose development. Faith and values, mental resilience. These are the models that you need to teach. The mindset shift in 2026. Mental resilience, social skills, and internal safety. Internal safety. It is important. It is important. All these will produce children who feel safe, who are deep thinkers, who love boldly, who fail without breaking. That you are intentional, that you are parenting with purpose, you are parenting with vision, doesn't mean your children will not fail at some point. I have said it again and again. Failure is a gift if we know how to use it. Failure is a gift. Failure is not the opposite of success, as most of us think. It is not. Success, opposite of success, failure. No. Failure is the pathway to success. So when we implement this new model, emotional intelligence, self-regulation, purpose development, faith and values, mental resilience, social skills, internal safety, we raise children who, even when they fall, they don't get broken. They don't get broken. And we raise children who lead with ego, boldness. These are the children, these are the kind of people that the world needs. What are you leaving this session with? I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section. My books are available on my online stores. Check the link in my bio. You will get all my books. And trust me, the Lord is still coming. I keep writing. I keep writing. I love writing. I love writing books. My latest book will soon be out. What I wish I knew before becoming a parent. It's going to be raw, real, expository, and empowering. So do well to get these books and read. And if you have any anything you want me to discuss either on this live session, or you have a challenge in your parenting, please do well to reach out to us at the Model Family Focus. We'll be glad to help you. Every Sunday by 2 p.m. we are here on the Parenting Talk Show with Coach Ayolua, teaching about parenting. And I am the parenting guru. When you hear me, when you see me on your screen, just know that I want to talk about parenting. I want to encourage you to keep parenting with intention, because I love everything about parenting. I know for sure, I am confident that if we get parenting right, we will get almost everything right. This is me again, Coach Ayolua Adedeji. And I'm telling you to keep parenting with intention. Until next time, keep parenting with intention.